crypto market is doing extremely well right now. But don't let that distract you from the fact that a couple of very big things are set to happen to crypto in the next little while. Now, two of these main things are the Mt. Gox repayments, which have been rescheduled, and obviously the wake of the FTX drama. There's also a lot of other regulatory scrutiny type of news that's come out that's putting a lot of fear into the people. On the opposite side of things though, guys, I am not worried for one single second. As I've said, I buy more crypto every single day with no exceptions, all over on Bybit, and I'll leave a link to that exchange down below. So, the first topic that we have to talk about right here is the Mt. Gox repayment date. So for anybody that does not know, Mt. Gox was a very popular crypto exchange roughly a decade ago. There was a supposed hack, and basically a lot of that Bitcoin has now been found back, and they're trying to get it back to the people. But, as you guys might be able to deduct here, the moment that they lost their Bitcoin, the price was about $500. Right now, the price per Bitcoin is, let's say, roughly $20,000. There's a good chance that the moment that these guys get their Bitcoin back, they're going to sell it. Because it will be kind of similar to you getting your Bitcoin now at $20,000 and selling it at $400,000. Indeed, that's not that strange of an idea in my opinion. Especially when you thought you would never see them again. So, we're all in the crypto community just looking at this potential selling pressure. In total, these creditors are owed 141,000 Bitcoin, 43,000 Bitcoin Cash, and 70 billion Japanese yen. This compares with the 850,000 Bitcoin stolen in the Mt. Gox hack. This is one little indication for you guys though that back then, after this hack happened, 24,000 customers were affected, about $500 million was stolen, and since it handled 70% of all Bitcoin transactions, the entire crypto market just tanked. However, in hindsight right now, it really does look a lot like the cycles which we see every couple of years where Bitcoin just takes a massive hit for some major sort of trauma and then swiftly recovers not too long afterwards. I'd say that the majority of people thought that because Mt. Gox was hacked, that crypto would be done now forever. But nothing would be further from the truth. Now, fast forward a couple years, Carpella said in March 2022 that Mt. Gox creditors were set to receive 150,000 Bitcoin, which by the way represents 1%-ish of the total Bitcoin in circulation at the time. However, Carpella claims a massive Bitcoin dump were denied by creditors. Albeit though, whatever about the bottom part of, well, how much selling pressure is it going to be? We just don't know. We don't know if they're going to be getting it in major installments either, but there's a new update on whether they're going to get their Bitcoin and when. Mt. Gox creditors can register and select repayment method until March 10th, 2023. Following the latest court decision, the deadline for Mt. Gox creditors to register and select a repayment method for their compensation has been pushed back to March 10th from January 10th this year, according to a creditor announcement. Furthermore, the deadline for the first tranche of repayments has also been delayed to September 30th from July 31st. And so we might not get any selling pressure until basically the last quarter. Having obtained the permission of the court, the rehabilitation trustee has also changed the base repayment deadline, early lump sum repayment deadline, and intermediate repayment deadline from July 31st, 2023, Japanese time, to September 30th, like we said. Again, creditors will receive the payments as soon as possible after the new deadline, and those who fail to complete the procedure in the agreed timeframe will not be able to receive any of the repayments below, the announcement states. Creditors who complete the procedure will receive a base payment. In addition, they will receive an early lump sum compensation or opt for a different amount later. The payments will be provided in crypto, fiat, or both. And that's, again, one of the things that I don't fully understand. What if they all pick fiat? Will then all this crypto be sold to market? Opposite side as well. What if they all pick crypto? Are they going to get back the amount? And that's something that's just what I don't honestly know. If they all pick crypto, are they going to get back the amount of crypto that they had or the amount of money that they had in crypto at the time? Because, I mean, if your bank account, for example, it gets emptied, right? You're going to get the amount of dollars that you had back. With crypto bank, it's a little bit different because, well, you'd rather have the coins as of this point because at that point they were worth way less. But on the opposite side, you only lost $40,000 at the time. And so if they pay you back that money, they've kind of done their job. So it's a difficult one. And the reason I'm saying it's kind of difficult is because even though they got back a lot of their Bitcoin, it's not everything just quite yet, which is why they can never get all their money back. But also, since they got back Bitcoin, the value of those is also increased. So it would seem kind of logical that they would just be able to give it back in the amounts that you'd want. But then if you pick fiat, then they have to calculate exactly the amount of fiat that your holdings at the time are worth now. It's just interesting, but yeah. Point number 2. There is some selling pressure that could potentially be looming here that all comes from Alameda and FTX. Again, I do not want to make you guys scared, afraid, or anything. Just being realistic and being real with you that these are lurking pressures that are potentially going to flash crash on the market in the near future. Crypto exchange FTX has recovered more than $5 billion in liquid assets, but the extent of customer losses in the collapse of the company founded by SBF is still unknown. Quote, we have located over $5 billion in cash, liquid cryptocurrency, and liquid investment securities. And again, that's already where I'm starting to look at it like, ooh. As you guys probably remember, right? We have FTX, we have Alameda. Both have a lot to do with cryptocurrency, and specifically Alameda was heavily invested in a lot of projects that I also invested in, one of which obviously is Solana, but there's many out there that FTX/Alameda was heavily invested in. Now, if they have found this liquid cryptocurrency, even if it's from FTX or Alameda, it doesn't matter. FTX was handling a lot of other cryptocurrencies as well, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, you pick it. If, they're talking about we need to compensate or we need to do something here, they might literally have to sell all this cryptocurrency, and even the ones from Alameda, which are probably not in this list yet, onto the market or OTC, and then give people their money back, basically, which is good for the people, don't get me wrong, but really not as beautiful for the market. Again, right now, FTX is trying to get more money by selling their affiliates, like, for example, Ledger X, and there's multiple companies that they're trying to sell right now to get some more money to pay people back. But there's also a little bit of a hiccup in that as they are being accused of quote-unquote fraud, and so those need to potentially be handled first before things can be sold. And it's going to be very interesting for other markets as well over the next couple of months, especially for like sports and like we'll cover a little bit further in the video, all these other things like arenas and whatnot, as the crypto space is diminishing so much right now, even though I personally think that it's just a short-term thing. It's just diminishing a lot. So all these sponsorships, they are kind of fading. So for example, FTX has to end their 19-year, $135 million sponsorship with the NBA's Miami Heat and 7-year, $90 million deal with League of Legends. Also, of course, their Formula One partnership, yada, yada, yada. And that leaves me to wonder, what is going to happen next? There's a couple of things which you need to understand. Binance or any other exchange could be in some sort of trouble not too far from now. Do I think Binance is shabamming all of us? No, I personally don't think so, but I don't think the majority of people thought that FTX was shabamming us either. And that's where I'm trying to place a little dot on. You don't really know what's going on until it's being fully laid out on the table. And even then, you can't fully understand things because, well, whenever you think it's fully on the table, there's still about 95% hidden details. Point being, we don't really know the situation of a lot of these exchanges. Anything could happen in an instant. And even though this is not detrimental for the long term of crypto, again, if you look back at Mt. Gox, every single time something like this happens, it's a temporary loss. It's annoying on the short term, but it fundamentally builds the crypto space better. And if we look at it from a span of about 2 years or 3 years, we'll just forget all about that and things will have moved past all these little burdens. To put it into perspective though, take a look at this. This article just popped up. Crypto lender, very much known lender Nexo, has been just raided by the Bulgarian authorities. I have personally never used Nexo before. I've been in talks with them, and a lot of you guys in the comment section, whenever I said I don't use Nexo, were always very excited about them. There's nothing wrong just quite yet, but now it's saying authorities in Bulgaria are probing crypto lender Nexo on the accusation of laundering money, tax fraud, unregistered banking, and online scams, of which the majority of this looks to be unearthed or not real. You can always say like, oh, you're doing online scams, when in reality it's just against some of the rules in the country, but they're not doing anything wrong really. It is, however, suspected that the Bulgarians behind the large corporation followed Ruza Iganotova's OneCoin Ponzi scheme, and the FBI has listed the Bulgarian as one of the top 10 most wanted people. Europol and Interpol are both looking for her, so that's kind of what's going around with that right now. But that only served to show you, There have been many other lending platform guys that have told me what Nexo is doing is unsustainable, they're a big scam. But whenever I speak to Nexo, they always give me every single detail that I'm asking for. They're always looking very transparent, always very open with things. And then from my perspective, it's like, well, I'm just not going to use them because I don't fully understand or know. But it shows as well that you can never really trust their words, their actions, or just what meets the eye because you don't know what's going on in the background. They give you a full-on story, and there's a 90% chance that the guy you're speaking with doesn't even know that things are wrong in the background either. These are just employees, or potentially, as we saw with FTX and whatnot, they could be high up executives that just are not aware of what's going up on the higher floor, so to speak. For example, and this is just a hypothetical here, there could be a freaking CEO set in place, and even that CEO might not know that the board members, let's say, actually instructed some other employees to funnel money from some scammers, for example. How would the CEO know? He might just think it's a very good month or something along those lines. It's just something for to keep in the back of your head. And now to kind of conclude our story, again, whatever I might have just said right now is negative. It might leave you with a little bit of fear. I'd say fear not, because crypto is here to stay. Samsung investment arm is considering a spot Bitcoin ETF in Hong Kong, with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange being the only regulated exchange in Asia offering Bitcoin futures ETFs. Some believe spot crypto ETF products will soon be allowed as well. Hot on the heels of its Bitcoin futures exchange traded fund in Hong Kong, Samsung Asset Management has indicated it's considering the launch of a Bitcoin spot ETF on the city's exchange if policies allow for it. Apparently, Hong Kong administrators are clearly interested in developing the city into a crypto hub. And as you guys might have seen yesterday already, Hong Kong investors can now gain exposure to Bitcoin through Samsung's new ETF listing, which launches today. And again, they're trying to expand as well. Samsung getting this heavily into crypto is not something you should take lightly. Side note, I'm just scrolling through this article, right? It says right here, vote for top 100 people in crypto. Guys, give me a little vote. Why not? Didn't know that was a thing, but that could be cool. Give me a little vote on Cointelegraph, right there. Vote for top 100 people in crypto. Cast your vote. I pressed it. This is what shows up. Your suggestion and email. Don't go subscribe to the newsletter. Don't give them that. Maybe make a fake email for it, but damn, that could be pretty cool. Just saying. Now, anyway, yeah, the point being here, and hopefully you guys understand this, the crypto space is heavily manipulated, we all know. Major institutions always make it seem like things are so bad, and indeed there are a couple of fears to have in the back of your head, but ultimately, all these billionaires are warning us for this, that, and I can keep reading it thinking, oh no, things are going to fall. But then you look at the crypto market and think, okay, so there's all this fear, there's all these logical reasons to be afraid, yet crypto prices go up. It kind of seems as if no one cares because they all know it will be temporary anyway. The reason that these cryptos will exist for longer amounts of time is because of the way in which they were built and why they were built. You have to understand that these were not made for just a little, oh, okay, times are exciting, let's quickly get a new currency out the way. No, it was times are bad, we need this. Let's experiment, but we need this, and let's see if we can fix this problem. And it did, which is why I try to stick with fundamentally good cryptos, except in a really good market when, things are just going absolutely insane and people FOMO over each other. But traditionally, I try to go for the best of the best, and that's kind of the situation that we're in right now as well. If I buy fundamentally good cryptocurrency, I think the next couple of years are just going to be pure fun every single day of the week. But yeah, guys, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. Another crypto or news update later today. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the like button if you enjoyed it.